This tutorial is going to be part one of how to create a polygon model, pretty much a character model, if you will, in Autodesk Maya. We are going to begin by setting our preferences, and we do that up here in the word Windows, Setting Preferences, Preferences. Now that opens up this dialog box, and we're going to begin by hitting the word Polygons here under the word Display, submenu Polygons. We're going to go ahead and turn our border edges on and change the edge width to 4. We'll be using border edges as one of our methods for manipulating a polygon. Next, we're going to go down to the word Selection. And with Selection, make sure where it says Polygon Selection, that whole face is actually selected. If not, you'll have to select on the center of that face to actually make it select. Here, anywhere on the face we can select. Go ahead and hit Save. We're also going to go ahead and make a quick change to our interactive creation options and the primitives there. And if you don't remember how to do that, we go up to the word Create, Polygon Primitives, and make sure that interactive creation does not have a check mark next to it. If it does, click on it and that will remove it. If it doesn't, then don't click on it. We do not want that. We pretty much want all our objects to start here in the center of the grid. Okay, so that's a quick review on that method. Now I am using the Autodesk Maya reference manual to walk you through this procedure, just creating a visual for you to watch. So I am going to be using the graphics that they supply with the software, and that of course is the helmet that we're going to be creating with the front and side view, and you can find that in the program files under Autodesk Maya, and then you'll see a Getting Started folder where these graphics will be available. For reference, I just put these on my desktop. In the toolbox, we're going to go ahead and click into our 4 view. Remember, you hit this icon here down below, and we're going to be in 4 views, and we're going to be using 2 of those views to help set up our graphics that we're going to use modeling the front and the side view. Next, what we want to do in the front view panel, all right, so remember you could tell which one's the front by looking down here, and I see the word front here at the bottom of this. I'm going to go ahead and select the word View, Image Plane, Import Image. Now because this is the front view, I'm going to go ahead and navigate out to my desktop where I have something called Helmet Graphic, and I have Helmet Front. I hit Open, and that places the graphic in there. Now I'm going to go ahead to my side view, which is over here. I'm going to select that viewport, and I'm going to repeat that process to bring in the side. View, Image Plane, Import Image, navigate to Desktop, or wherever yours is located, Helmet Graphics, and Side. At this point, I think we can go ahead and save now that we have this set up. If everything looks good, call it File, Save As, and you can name it whatever you like. I would pretty much name mine Helmet Tutorial, okay, which will help you keep things straight, and just hit Save. Okay, our next step's a little tricky if you're not familiar with Maya, but that's okay. We'll take it nice and slow. We're going to go to the front viewport. We're going to select that front viewport, and we're going to come over to the word Views. So we're going to Views, select Camera, okay. And now what that done is actually got the camera that's on the image plane, okay, and we're working with the orthographic camera view. We're going to display the channel box by clicking the Show Hide Channel Box icon up here on the status line. Okay, remember that's these 3 icons over here. The first one is your attribute editor. Your second one is your tool settings. Your third one is your channel box. Now we already had, mine was open, so I'm going to go ahead and just look at it again. And now what we're going to do is move on to the next step. In the input section, we're going to click the Image Plane 1. Okay, so you come down here where it says Input Image Plane 1. All right, and that's going to display the attributes for that image plane that we're looking at. we're going to set the alpha gain attribute to a value of 0.25. Okay. Notice that we're at 1 right now. That means 1 is pretty much solid. By typing in 0.25 and hitting enter, that's going to soften this graphic so we can still see the grid lines through it. It's sort of transparent. Let's do the same for this camera view. Again, we're going to go to Views, select Camera. So now we're looking at the side orthographic camera view. Select Image Plane and change its alpha gain also to 0.25. Okay. So far so good. Let's go ahead and just do a quick save. Every step it's nice to do that. That way we don't lose what we're working on. We can also go ahead up here to the perspective view, and when we select that on the perspective panel, we can also go to Show. Okay, the word Show, and where it says Cameras, that's going to just temporarily remove those graphics up here. We're not going to need them in this view. It's going to be kind of distracting. We're going to see the 3D model that we start meshing. We're only going to need the graphics for the front and the side view here. Our next step is to start actually applying some modeling here. We're going to begin with a basic polygon primitive. And you may be thinking, oh, we'll start with a sphere, but we're going to actually work with a cube. Okay. So we're going to go up to the word select. All right. And we're going to look for the word create. All right. So we come up here and create polygon primitives, cube, but we're going to hit the little box to the right. That's going to give us the properties before we apply that box. All right. And we've seen this before, but in our previous lesson we worked with primitives. Let's pick a number. We're going to go width 14, height 14, and depth 14. Now these numbers will match up pretty close to what our graphic is in the background there. With width divisions, we'll stay at 1. Height divisions, we're going to up to 2, and we'll leave depth divisions at 1 as well. Go ahead and hit the word create. Notice now that we have a box it's a little bigger than what we need, but we're going to be working on that. We're going to soften it here shortly by adding a property to it. Okay. Next, we're going to go ahead with the cube selected, and we know it because it's still green. We're going to go to the words mesh. Okay. Now, if you can't find mesh, like mine, I'm in the surface menu. So I want to go into my polygon menu. Now I have the word mesh. Okay, so remember, your pull down here has to say polygon. Hit the word mesh. Find the word smooth. And we're going to hit the box. That way we can control the smooth. Smooth options opens up. Okay, where it says add divisions, make sure you have exponentially selected. And under the division levels, let's change that to 2. Go ahead and hit the word smooth. Now what we've done is we've created pretty much a chamfer box, sort of. And this is going to be a little bit easier to work with here. Now, if you are creating your own model and you don't have these presets, well, that's where you have to start experimenting with the various different attributes and get it close to the shape. And remember, we're going to be doing various things to make some changes here in order to conform this shape to that helmet, but this is a good starting point for us. Let's hit save. While we're also here and we still have it selected, let's rename this. Right now it's called PCube01. You double click on that. Let's call it helmet mesh. That'll help us to just keep in mind what it is when we start adding other pieces to this later on, possibly. Okay, so helmet mesh will work. Now we want to work in the modeling in a shader mode. Okay, and that'll make a little bit more sense here once you do it. But you'll notice that we're in wireframe right now up here. And we want to see a solid. We're not going to get a very good look at it being wireframe over here. So we're going to go in the perspective view. Go ahead and click in the perspective view and select back on the object. We're going to right click on the helmet mesh. Okay. When we do that, we get this little pop-up menu that comes up, and we want to make sure that we are in object mode. Okay, right here. You're holding your right mouse down, that will allow you to search through the different components that we're going to be working with. But select object mode. That way, when you select something, you're completely in. Just the whole entire object selects. Okay. Now we want to go to the word shading. Up here, so you select the word shading, and you're going to see smooth shade all. So you select that radio button, smooth shade all. Okay, and that's going to display in the smooth. Then from the panel menu, we're going to select shading again and put wireframe on shaded. So scroll down here where it says wireframe on shaded, right there. Once you select that, that's going to leave the wireframe out on top. Okay, so it's sort of like an edged face mode, almost like a smooth and highlights with an edged face mode, but here in Maya it's slightly different. Now let's say we want to do that in the other views. Okay, say we went up to shading here, and we did the same thing again, smooth shade all. And then we also went in and did the wireframe on shaded. The problem is we cannot see through this object in reference to the background graphic. So we'd want to go into X-ray mode. And with the helmet still selected, we're going to choose the following from the side view panel. All right. And you're going to go up here again to shading, smooth shade all, which is what we did, and then shading, wireframe on shaded. But this time where it says shading, we're also going to hit the word X-ray. Now we can actually see through it. It does show somewhat solid, and that's important. Let's do that again over here. View, go to shading, smooth shade all, shading. We're going to go to wireframe on shaded, and shading, X-ray. So now we can tell that there's a solid object, but we can see through it. All right, we're going to go ahead and stop there for this video. And in our next video, we'll start tearing this thing apart and conforming it to the graphic we have in the background.